Hi, everybody. I'm so thrilled to be doing this for a more intimate, smaller audience today. This is great. Thank you all for actually showing up. And thanks for the great intro, Aaron. I am going to talk to you today about something that's a little more niche, maybe, or specific to my company than maybe will be applicable for a lot of you, but I work on the digital team at GoTo Foods. If you're not familiar with GoTo Foods, we are the franchisor and the holding company for all of the brands you see on the screen here. There are 7 of them. We've got another one, a small concept in the works, so I actually think of it as 8 brands. I am not really a marketer. I don't think of myself as a marketer, but I know actually I am. I think actually anybody who does anything for their company and is trying to get consumers to engage with the brand and become loyal and spend their money and attention with them is a marketer. So I'm going to try to put that hat on today as I talk to all of you who are more in the marketing space. But my job is really to be thinking about our digital experiences and making them valuable for our customers and our franchisees. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, and I'm going to start by invoking the iconic Sophia Petrillo and ask you to picture it. At GoTo Foods, we have 7 mobile apps, 8 websites, 8 brand teams, 50-plus stakeholders, hundreds of franchisees, almost 7,000 restaurants, and millions of customers. And they all want something, they all need something out of our digital experiences that we're building and delivering to them. Unfortunately, though, we do live in reality, and we cannot give everybody everything they want, and certainly not as fast as they want it. So how do we make sense of all of that? How do we actually make sure we are delivering value and we're focused on the right things at any given point in time? Because as you all probably know, your technology is very expensive. So you don't want to have your teams just kind of willy-nilly working on stuff that might be cool, but nobody really knows if it's going to move the needle on anything. So if you have a product team, a lot of y'all probably don't. I think we're a little unique in the QSR space, the way we're set up. Our digital and our loyalty teams are separate. Digital product, also different than product, not the menu product that our restaurants are actually selling, but our products being the mobile apps and websites and technology within our restaurants that our operators are using. We have a product management team, and they sit at the intersection of our customers, our business, and the technology. This is the second Venn diagram y'all are seeing today. Probably didn't expect to see more than one. So our job as the product team is really to pull all the different threads from these 3 different concentric circles here, which represent the people of our business, and make sure that our technology teams are actually focused on the right things. And one of the ways we do that is through a roadmap, as Aaron has said a couple times today. So I don't know if y'all use roadmaps or have your own versions of roadmaps, but for us, they are much more than just a project plan or a timeline or a calendar. They're really the artifact that helps us get clarity and helps us drive alignment and show clarity to our stakeholders and our franchisees and our leaders. So perfection is obviously not attainable, but it's what we're always striving for. So today I thought I would share with you, give you a little bit of like a 101 on how my team does their job and what I'm thinking about day to day through the lens of what a perfect digital roadmap might look like. And in my years of working in the digital products and services space, I've seen a lot of roadmaps, some of them good, some of them not so good. And I think these 4 things on the screen are the characteristics or the facets of something that a roadmap that is actually healthy and functional. So of course you have your customer needs. You're going to want to have initiatives and work on there representing your business and the things that are going to drive your business, technology and infrastructure, and then the fun one, innovation. So we'll go through a little bit about each of these. First being customer needs. I don't think I have to probably tell anybody or spend too much time explaining to you the fact that we all have tons and tons of apps on our mobile devices, and we don't use all of them every day, right? So right now, the average American consumer has about 80 mobile apps downloaded on their phone at any given point in time, but they're really only using a handful of those a day, maybe 30 within a given month. So our challenge becomes, as we're thinking about designing and building compelling digital experiences, for the case of a mobile app, for instance, how do we build something that people are going to be willing to give up valuable space on their device to install, and then even more than that, actually open and use? So it comes down to understanding what our customers want, right? This is really where things start and end for us. Ease, trust, value, delight, some core pillars and desires we see in our customer feedback, in the research we're doing, in just asking ourselves, what do we look for out of a mobile app that we want to keep opening and using? It's really important that our experiences are seamless, they're easy to use. I think for food in particular, for e-commerce apps, functionality is critical. It's table stakes to have one. It's table stakes to have your loyalty and your ordering experiences within that overall experience. And if it doesn't work, it's like worthless, right? So much of the negative feedback we see on our apps is not necessarily even about the app itself. It's about my order wasn't right. I picked up my food and my customizations weren't what I put in and what I thought I was ordering. So making sure that things are working well and instilling that trust that my data, whether it's about my order or my credit card information that I'm putting in, is handled appropriately, is super important to our customers. And this last one, I love, delight. We actually call it brand magic at GoTo Foods. It's very important to make sure that we're thinking about our apps and websites as branded experiences, part of our brand portfolio, just like the marketing is, right? Or anything that has brand personality and voice and tone that's going out to our consumers. I'll talk a little bit more about how we handle that as a platform company with multiple brands in a few minutes. So what our customers want is one thing, what our franchisees want is another. They are also, as was alluded to a few minutes ago, they are also our customers, and we need to make sure that we are meeting their needs and that they're finding value in what we're delivering as well. So they're looking for things that are slightly different. They're looking for stability, reliability, usability, and support. So Deanna was talking about getting texts from franchisees who are like, hey, something in the app is down, or I need help, or there's a bug here. We deal with that literally every day. It's one of the things I probably spend most of my time thinking about, to be honest. But it becomes a real problem for our operators when the app is not working and there's a line that creates a choke point at the register in the stores if somebody is standing there for 6 minutes trying to get their QR code for their redeemable to work that they want to scan. And then it puts their store employees in the position of having to become like tech support, which is also not really a winning proposition. So customers, like I said, starts and ends with customers, but we don't really, again, we live in reality, so we're not really in a world where we can only think about creating cool, fun, functional stuff for our customers. We also have to think about the needs of our business partners. For me, that is frequently our loyalty team, our marketing teams, legal, PR. Everybody has a stake in our digital experiences, and everybody's trying to do something or solve some specific problems through those experiences. So for the business, frequently this is things like driving traffic, plussing up frequency, a greater check size, engendering loyalty from customers. So these are all things we're thinking about too, not just creating compelling, delightful experiences, but how can we do that to actually move the needle on some of these things. One way we do this is through an effort versus impact methodology. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with this. It's one that we use quite a bit. It's super simple to understand. You're obviously looking to pinpoint your highest value projects where you should be prioritizing and spending your time based on what's going to give you the biggest impact, laid up against what is a level of effort that is reasonable for your teams to undertake and they'll be able to deliver on. As a portfolio company, we have a third axis we have to think about here, and I wish I could make this 3D so you could see this dotted line coming out this way, but that is portfolio value. So something that is really impactful for one brand might not make a lot of sense for the other brands, so that might not be something that we're gonna go spend money on and commit to delivering. As an example, Carvel, our little East Coast ice cream shop, some of you may know about. Yes, thank you. Carvel is really well known for their ice cream cakes. So we've thought a lot about, wouldn't it be cool if we had an in-app experience where you could custom build your ice cream cake? You choose your size, your frosting color, your flavor, what's printed on top, all that good stuff, and do that digitally as sort of like a wizard experience. That would be really fun. Could be great for Carvel. They love this concept. However, that's not super applicable to any of our other brands. So unfortunately, it's probably not one that's going to rise to the top. But something like a data-driven or an AI-driven recommendation engine that's helping us increase that average order value, that's using data to make personalized suggestions about other products our customers might like, that is actually extensible to all of our brands. So that's a pretty compelling project for us to go chase down. Likewise, tableside ordering. You know, we have 3 restaurant brands and we have 4 specialty, or we call them like snack brands. Tableside ordering is a great feature that McAllister's Deli really loves, extensible to Moe's and Schlotzsky's as well, but not the rest of the brands. So this one might fall a little more middle of the road. From a technology standpoint, there are things our technology teams need to be spending time and money doing that you all may not see or our end users may not see. Hopefully they feel them, because there'll be things like looking for faster load times, enhanced performance, that sort of thing, to make the overall experience feel more premium. But they're not necessarily always going to be flashy new features, but they are super important for how we manage our back end and understand what's happening in our experiences and be able to address and resolve issues as quickly as possible. Another thing from a technology standpoint, that I'm going to use an image that is more about the UI and not as much about the tech, but the concept is the same. We are a platform company, so we are always thinking through that lens when we're building something, and how do we do that efficiently? And the answer really is, we're going to design something, we're going to build something, hopefully just one time, and then apply the unique branding for each of our brands on top of that foundational architecture. So you can see here, this top row represents where our mobile apps were a year ago, 2 years ago. Each one had their own different code base, their own different experience. Carvel didn't have an app, that's why it's a black screen. But this is the login screen for each of the mobile apps. And login is basic, right? Like, none of these brands need a different version of login from each other. They really need the one that's going to be the most effective, the clearest for users to understand what their choices are and complete that action as quickly as possible. So what we did was we designed and we built one login experience, and then we worked with the creative and the marketing teams for each brand to make sure that we were theming that page and that screen appropriately in the way that, you know, they want to see their brand expressed. And we did this for all of the core functionality. There are, of course, some deltas, specifically when you get into like the menu and the actual products and the way the loyalty programs work for each of these brands. But by and large, our key core critical functionality for each of these 7 brands is going to feel, not necessarily look, but will feel the same. All right, and then I'm going to wrap it up with innovation. This is the one that is the most fun, the sexiest, but as we all know, tends to not always happen, quite frankly, because these other things have to happen first and foremost to keep things running. But when we think about the future of digital for QSRs, there's some themes that pop, and a lot of you, I'm sure, are thinking about these same things, and probably others as well. AI is obviously a huge one. How can we thoughtfully leverage AI, not just have AI for AI's sake, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about, should we be doing conversational ordering or something like that? And I don't know, I don't think we know the answer yet about if that's the best way for us to be using AI right now, or is it more operationally behind the scenes, or to enable, empower the tech, or make personalized recommendations. Similarly, GEO, so SEO is not enough anymore. You can have like a super solid SEO strategy, but if you're not thinking about ChatGPT and all of his friends, you are gonna miss out a little bit, right? Because it's also super important now that we are being grabbed and by those engines as well, and being recommended to people as they're searching and chatting. And then lastly, the one that I think I'm most interested in personally is how we continue to use our digital experiences as complementary to our physical experiences. So this has a big loyalty play for sure, but I think there's also things related to payment and leveraging even more than most of our brands already do, the native features in Android and Apple phones to just have a super seamless experience for our customers as they engage with our brands. So for us, it's all about prioritizing. It's knowing what to pause, what to let go of, how to think about scale, and of course, keeping our customer at the center of it all. And if you're able to do that, you should have nice, smooth sailing and an open road ahead. Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you so much. I'm wondering, you said you spend most of your time on bugs, right?
Yep.
How many of those things are actually bugs versus someone just not knowing how to use the app?
That is a really good question. Probably 50-50, honestly. But it's interesting because, it's easy for us to get frustrated when we hear a report from a franchisee of like, oh, this person couldn't do this thing, or their order went to the wrong location or something, and we dig into it and we see like, well, actually they just didn't use it, right? But then that is illuminating for us too, because we are trying to make these things super easy, right? You shouldn't accidentally send your order to a wrong location. So even in instances like that can be frustrating, it is still illuminating for us to say, okay, maybe something we thought was intuitive actually isn't.
Well, and then how do you not get caught up in this is a one-person problem, and to the franchisee, it is impacting everything to them, but to you, it's like, this is like 0.01% of my overall business. Like, how do you have that conversation when it means so much to them, but so little to you?
Right. Yeah. Well, if it's one person or if it's one location too, that's another thing too. We'll see an issue with a menu for one location, but 1 out of 400, it's hard for us to drop everything else we're doing to go solve that one problem. So we try to do a lot of education about that and about how we have to work and the realities of our pipeline and our capacity and what else we're working on. And we have a prioritization framework for assigning severity and criticality of issues that come in. And so we just try to make sure everybody is aware of that and be as diplomatic as we can to have to say sometimes, sorry, I understand this is very frustrating for you right now, but it's going to take us a few days to resolve this.
I will let go of the mic now. What questions do we have for Stephanie?
I always have a question about loyalty and apps. Olga here, restaurant loyalty specialist. I was looking at the set of screens you shared with the unified login experience.
Yep.
And that looked wonderful in one way because it's obviously much easier and it's better researched and easier to manage and all of those things. But then the flip side of that is the sea of sameness.
Yeah.
Is the experience exactly the same everywhere? How do you guys balance that differentiation versus standardization? It's a challenging one.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's something we talk and think about a lot, especially when we're in the design phase. For us, and I'm a UX thinker, I have a UX background. For me, foundationally, we've got to make things easy for people to use. So there is a reason why every login screen we see for any brand or any type of app is pretty much the same, right? We all kind of understand and intuitively, even if we're using a new app for the first time, navigate our way through signing up for something to create an account or logging into our account. So functionality and making sure it's super usable is more important to us than making something seem super different and unique. But we do look for opportunities to plus up that, like we call it, brand magic. So where there's a moment for a graphic or an illustration or some specific copy that can really exude the voice and tone of the brand, we try to find those moments and lean into them. So things like error screens or an empty state of, on our menus, we'll have a recents and a favorites version of the menu for our loyalty users. And if you're not a loyalty user, those will be blank. That's like an empty state or a non-signed in, a non-loyalty version of that screen. And it's a really good moment for us to use that real estate to have a brand moment and also encourage action. So.
Another question over here.
Hi, Stephanie. Tracy with Valpak. I'm currently doing a test program with one of your franchisees that has about 15 locations. It's a co-branded Auntie Annie's and a Cinnabon.
Yep.
But they are located in a Myers grocery store.
Oh, interesting.
So we've got a print and digital strategy we're doing for them. And that's very different than a traditional brick and mortar because we got to let the consumers know that they have to go into the grocery store to find the experience, right, and whatever they're offering. So I was curious, as you're doing all your digital programs, like what percentages of your stores are freestanding versus in like a grocery store? And is your digital strategy a different approach when you're driving them into a different destination to find your brand?
Yeah, I actually do not know the percentage of freestanding versus in-store. I'm going to find out now, though, because that's really interesting. I didn't know. I know we have a lot of locations that are like gas station based, and Auntie Anne's and Cinnabon are our big mall brands. Auntie Anne, Cinnabon, Jamba are in most airports. But inside a grocery store, that's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. But it does put a little bit of extra burden on us to make sure that the location experience is really crystal clear. And something we haven't really done yet, but talk about frequently, maybe some of y'all are doing this, is using geolocation technology to ping people when we know their device is within a certain radius of a store, to let them know, hey, you're next to an Auntie Anne's, or you're 100 feet away from a Jamba. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, certainly, and it does just add another interesting, challenging layer for us to think about.
Yep.
Hey, Steph, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
For example, who are you? Oh, I'm Ha. I lead marketing for PokeWorks. But thanks, John. I had a question around the universal architecture that you have for the apps that are in every single one of your brands. You have 3 ways of signing up. One is name, password, phone number, etc. And then there's the Apple login and the Facebook login. Of those 3, which one tends to be the most popular?
So the traditional use of your phone number and your email address is represents our biggest user percentage of our user base. I think Aaron's trying to take the mic back from you. Yeah. The Facebook login is actually pretty big as well. That's probably the second most popular way for people to sign up and manage their account through us, particularly, and it does vary a little bit by brand because our brands have a pretty wide demographic of customers. But for like a McAllister's, for instance, which tends to skew older, we have about 20%, 15 to 20% of our loyalty members have signed up through their Facebook account. So it's kind of a thorn in our side because Facebook, if any of you have social sign-in with Facebook, they have a lot of regulations around data privacy in particular, so there's lots of violations that have to be addressed frequently, or else you can't log in with your Facebook account, which is frustrating to users. So yeah, social sign-in is something we talk about a lot, and what is the benefit of that for us, but also for users.
Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank you.